Hello everyone, Don here with the update on my workhorse here. As I mentioned in my last video from last Tuesday, today is now Monday, July 15th, I believe. It's sometime around 3 in the afternoon. I came down here, let's see, now Saturday I had a fly-in picnic up at the Erie Airport for the local EAA chapter. So Saturday I was up there and it was pretty hot and pretty warm, muggy. It was pretty nice though. We had a good breeze blowing around and seen a lot of planes coming and going. So, and yesterday, Sunday, was pretty much like today, but it was hotter yesterday. It was pushing close to 90, again, humidity through the roof. So I was planning on coming down yesterday to do this condition inspection. Like I say, from my last video, I was mentioning I was going to come down probably Sunday. Well, I didn't feel like doing anything Sunday. It was just too miserable out. Today is not that much better. When I got down here, it's about 85 degrees and it's humid. But with the hangar doors closed, it's staying fairly cool in here, but I'm feeling the humidity. Like I said, I've been down here now for about 3 hours. I pulled the cowling, as you can see. I pulled the wing covers off underneath the wing where it separates. Got up in there. On the inside gear door above it, there's a metal plate goes up in there so I can see up in that wing that way. So I took that all out, had to drop that gear door down, and so as I inspected everything, I got in there and sprayed and lubed all the connections, checked all the push-pull rods, made sure all the jam nuts were tight on all the rod ends, and then while I was in there I sprayed everything. The gear mechanisms, everything's been sprayed with some light spray oil to get down into all the moving pieces and parts, and then I put all the covers back in and screwed the door back in, put the bottom cover on as I went through each one. Got all the hinges for the ailerons and flaps, all the push-pull tubes are all been checked for jam nuts, cotter pins, and light dab of spray on every connection, every hinge, every rod end to go through it. Took the tail cone off back there, checked it, took the two covers off for the rudder horn, went in there and lubed that stuff up. All the rudder hinges, elevator hinges, push-pull tube, back air for the elevator, rudder hinge cable points. Got into the back behind the seat there, looked back down through there, got in, pulled the seat cover up, got in there, checked all the push-pull tubes for the ailerons, elevators, sprayed and lubricated all that stuff up. Not going to see much in there, light sitting over there, but I pulled the seat cover up and got in there. Went through all that, checked all there's the push-pull tube assemblies down here for the flap mechanisms. I run the flaps all down, and I'd always been mentioning that I wanted to do that. If you can see, that's basically like 10, 20, 30 degrees. So when I'm running the flaps, I can see that reference mark. All right, let me zoom that back out. But yeah, I checked everything over inside here. Everything's good, sound, all that stuff, all the flap mechanism, hinge points, all the underneath sides. I lubed all the hinges, threw a dab of oil on all these because there is a little bronze bushing in them. Same thing, sprayed along the hinges, got up in the tail, sprayed all that stuff down, checked all the cotter pins, put a fresh cotter pin in this side because one of the tails had broke off. The other side was fine, but I sprayed the piano hinges there. The 5 hinges across here, the ones underneath you get 2 from the tail, pull the tail off, so all them been lubed up. These 3 hinges are all done, and then again the cables, hinge points. Again, push-pull tube back there, the rod end, checked all the jam nuts, the linkage all the way up through, and as you can see back through in the trunk or the luggage compartment area in here, you can pull this down and I can look back through there. I just had this all out recently, so no sense pulling it back out. Same way with the fuel tank, since I had that all off doing the rudder pedals, I know that stuff's all good. So generally, would that need to be pulled off? Not really. I can see up in there fairly good. So again, all these control surfaces, everything looked good. And then I come around to the engine, pulled the cowlings as you can see, and I checked everything over. I'm seeing a very slight exhaust, a little bit of carbon, one little trace up under here that I'm kind of seeing just a little bit of soot, right there in the front. It could have been old stuff, but the nuts, everything's tight. I ended up found one little drop of water on the bottom of this piece of hose right here. There was a drop of water, so I grabbed a screwdriver and checked that hose clamp there, and so I went around and hit all these hose clamps, and since it's nice and warm in here, this stuff is a lot softer than it was probably when a lot of this stuff was installed. So, but everything I torqued on up to a quarter, maybe a half a turn I could get out of some of these. So I got like 3 there for them, and then one's here, one's on there, one's right in there. Comes back to this little block with my coolant temp sensor and engine coolant sensor probe here. These firewalls where the water coolant goes into the firewall there. Let me turn this down one more. But went over everything. I don't see anything chafing nowhere. Everything looks good. Put a little oil in this, pulled the boot off, run that out. Sprayed some oil, worked throttle back and forth. That's throttle. Sprayed the hinge assembly up here to lube that. This is water, heated water to keep the throttle body from freezing up. So just touched all them, touched that one down in there. If you can see it, where is it? Where's my light? Hard to see with the camera, isn't it? There it is, down in there. So I went over all the screws for all the clamps, checked all the nuts for the props. Hit these clamps here on the mass air meter, that clamp, that clamp, that clamp, that clamp. All of these these clamps up here on these vacuum hoses and such. Everything was tightened up, checked. So all that. Again, that's the idle air control valve. All that stuff was checked. There was some belt dust in here, but there was some in here before. But every now and then you can kind of hear a little squealing on it when I'm throttling back. But everything seems to be fine. Checked coolant level. The coolant likes to stay right about here. If I try to put any more in it, I think it's just spitting it out, because that's not a very big expansion tank. So all these hoses were tightened up. A couple down in there were all tightened up. Those were tightened up. But everything was like quarter turn, most of them. A couple of them, took like a half turn. So hopefully they'll hold. So that's something I'll check every time. This thing's probably going to want to get the oil's been in there for a year, but there's only 10 hours on it or so I'm not looking to change it yet. I'll get a little more run time on it, but I'll eventually swap it out. It's still perfectly clean and full, so that's kind of where I'm at. I don't plan on taking this thing out today. It is raining on and off. Winds are blowing pretty good. Nasty and humid, like I said before. So all I need to do is put the cowling back on, screw her down, put the hinge pins back in it, close the canopy up, and then I'm gonna head for home. But basically this is my annual, what they call a condition inspection for experimentals. Now I was mentioning about the seat belts. Let me grab that light real quick again, sorry. Now the problem with my seat belt is it comes up across my waist or stomach. It doesn't come across your hips like it should. Like in your car, you've got your lap belt that goes across your lap. Well, the problem with these seat belts, as you can see, right there is where they attach. So this is the buckle off of the seat belt itself, and then there's a steel bracket. Lighting is terrible in here, but sorry folks, unplanned stuff here. But that shiny part is the buckle, and it's bolted to a steel strap that goes through some blocks that are glued in here out to the outside. But it comes up over here, so this comes up, across your midsection. It comes across my stomach. It needs to be up here somewhere. Come on, light. This seat belt, this buckle assembly, needs to be down here somewhere, so it comes across my hips down here. Same way over here, same thing. So But as you can see, this is the push-pull tubes for the flap mechanism. Same over here. So anything I do, I'd have to either come like through the spar here. There's room to come under here, but even if I was to, can't really attach it to the original bracket up here. The bracket comes up like this and angles in some, and it's bolted clear up here on the top. It's just hard to see with that linkage in there, so you can see a little better on this side. Seat belts are a pain in the butt. But there's a bracket down in there. But that's the problem. Is, I mean, you can see how high that thing's coming across the seat. Oh, come on, stupid light. But that's kind of where it's at when you're in the airplane. And of course, this one comes up over my shoulders and buckles in there. But these belts need to be down here. Way down here somewhere. So, I'm going to give that some thought. Like I said, but the only solid thing to attach to, I'll keep hitting this damn zoom, sorry again folks, is the spar. And there's a shaft coming through here, and there's ball bearings in this for the flap assembly. So I can either come out of here somewhere or underneath. That's hollow under here because that spar comes up at an angle. Cut this damn strap off this thing, camera. But you can see how that, just cable out of the way here. Underneath, you can see the spar is tapered. There's a gap under there, so there's nothing really to catch under here, per se, but I might be able to come out of here somehow. I can't really, I can go down through the floor, but I can't get under the floor to put an a bolt, big washer, or whatever. But that's something I want to address. It's more of a safety thing. And the funny thing is in the prints, it shows the lap belt on it's got a picture of a man drawn in here, and it shows the lap belt coming down, down to here. But yet the attach points are right here in the print. So, again, everything up in here is all done. You can see where the cables are now attached to the pedal. Let me see if I can zoom in here a little for you. They're attached to the top of that white strap you can see on each side. So you can see it there. They were an inch higher than that, so let me see if I can pull back on this cable. And doesn't need much, but you can kind of see right there is the attach point. And there's springs that pulls the pedals back up in place. But I mentioned I pulled this up out of the way so I could see down in here, lube up all these controls. So, all right. Okay, I think that's going to do her, folks. It's just nasty down here, and tomorrow's supposed to be the same. Today was only supposed to be like low 80s, but like I said, it was 85 degrees today when I got down here. And now, I don't know what it is, it probably hasn't got any hotter, but just too humid. So again, everything looks great. Tire pressures, everything's great. I did find me a small 6-inch pneumatic wheel. It's a caster wheel, just like that is, but it's supposed to be a 4-ply rubber inner tube tire, and it's supposed to only be 6 inches in diameter, and it's the right width, 1.5 to 2 inches wide, so it should fit. And I found 2 different ones, but they're essentially, one is a whole caster. It's got the frame and everything for a caster. You can get it with a straight, solid, no turn, and then you can get the one where it has the caster. They're both the same price. They're like $32. And then I found another one where it's just the tire, and it's a lot cheaper than that, but it does show an inner tube valve stem sticking outside. But The drawings on the one show that it is only 6 inches overall in diameter, because that's all the bigger that is. And you're thinking that's not a very big tire. So, but if I can get an inner tube pneumatic tire back there, all this noise in the camera and inside the fuselage should be very, very minimal after that. So I'm going to go through it tonight on eBay and sort out which one I want and get that coming. Not sure why it quit. I don't know if it's a memory thing or the battery's fine. So, well, in case it's a memory thing, there might be too many videos on here that I gotta delete. But I'm going to go ahead and end this now and button this up. And I don't think I'll be back tomorrow. I may not be back till this weekend. Tomorrow's not going to be any better today. They're calling for thunderstorms and rain and heat and humidity. So, all right, as always, folks, appreciate you taking time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. Appreciate the ones that everybody's been leaving, and it's been nice and civil. I appreciate that. So, I think that's about all I got to say for this one. I'm going to button this up, and then I got to go home and make the entry in my logbook saying the thing is safe to fly for another year, or to fly this another year coming. So, all right, folks, I will see you again, if not tomorrow, next weekend, or this coming weekend. I doubt I'll be down tomorrow because it's supposed to thunderstorms, and it did yesterday and last night. Already rained this morning, been raining on and off. So, okay, friends, I will catch you on the next one. So for now, this is Dino Dunn out.